Hello everyone, Edain here, and welcome back to the Edain Mod, where today we're starting the faction guides for the Edain Mod. I've technically tried this like twice in the past, and I've kind of given up halfway because they were either taking too long to do, the structure was too rigid and I was just not enjoying it, or I just completely forgot. But this time I'm going to be going at it a different way. There's only 4 things I'm going to be talking about with each faction. Their core mechanics, their strengths and weaknesses, how I prefer to play them, and how the best to beat them when the AI is using them. And of course we're starting with Gondor because who else are we going to start with other than Gondor? I couldn't think of anyone else, so let's begin with their core mechanics. Gondor hasn't got any major any majorly difficult to understand mechanics. Their things are their formations, so most of their forces, like your Anorian troops, some of your fiefdom troops, like the Blackwood Vale Archers and the Pelagia Monster Slayers, have formations. And these formations just give you a benefit and a negative in some way or another. For the Trollbender formation, it gives you an extra armor, can't be knocked back, but deal less damage. Then you have obviously the Gondor Soldiers, tried and true Shield Wall formation, or Block formation as it used to be called. Bonus armor, reduction in speed. It's similar in how the battle stances work, but it is just a simple thing like that that actually changes how the unit is positioned. Which, obviously, if against a large AoE attack, that is going to kill them all very quickly, even if it does give them extra armor. However, Gondor also has, on top of that, the power formations of Gondor, so just give your units bonus damage and armor whenever they're in their formations. This is best used, I think, with your archers, where you can just be far away and not have to worry about too many things going on. And then every other unit's formations, other than these pikemen, the porcupine formation. This is the only bad formation in Gondor. The rest of them are good. And then your heroic troop hat is always in a formation. You also are very infantry heavy. As you can see here, we have mostly sword and board. We have a lot of good pikemen, hybrid pikemen and swordmen. Some good archers that in the late game, if you can afford them, Aphelion Rangers are really good. Then you have just decent knights to begin with, not cheap knights like with Rohan or with some other factions like Isengard with the Wild Riders, but they are still really good. And even though the formation kind of turns them into a melee brawler unit, they are very good on the charge. And then you have one of the best heroic units in the game, the Dol Amroth Swan Knights. And you also have, if you ever give Boromir the One Ring, which my AI ally, if you haven't noticed, I have got an AI ally at the moment, just to show off how the AI plays and for the how to beat them later. But you also get going into the White City. So you're very infantry focused. So you've got little siege. You've got like no big monsters like some factions. You've not got things like Ents or Trolls. You're just running all men of Gondor. And you also have your fiefdom mechanic, which comes all from the Signal Fire. You have these errand riders where you send them out to get aid from one of the 4 fiefdoms available. Belfalas has different names for these fiefdoms, but the units are exactly the same. No difference other than just their models. It looks like Boromir died and then the ring got dropped again. I'm not going to go over that. You can also get 1 of each by spending 8 in total, and they all come out with banner carriers, which is what I did for these guys here. And lastly, though this isn't technically a mechanic, if you play on certain maps, let's say Arnor or Belfalas, instead of playing Gondor, you will play Arnor or Belfalas. And I'll be going over both of those factions in separate videos, because honestly, they are unique enough to deserve a whole faction guide for both of them. And that's their mechanics, strengths, and weaknesses. Their main strengths are all come from their heroes, because all their units are very generic. They've not got like any grand-standing abilities like Sauron's Influence of Power. They've not got the Cleansing of Theoden mechanic. They've just got really good heroes from the get-go. You've got really good vision with Pippin and Denethor. You've got amazing defenses with Beragond, good unit leaderships with Boromir and Faramir. You've just got a lot of really good things working for you constantly with all your heroes, and your power. You've got one of the best power trees in the game with Gondor. With powers like Pleas to the Eagles and the An Oath Fulfilled, you can just decimate entire armies with these two powers alone. You also got assistance in times of need. Give all your fiefdom troops just instant upgrades, which is amazing. It takes so much of the having to get the iron ore, research the upgrades, and then purchase them. You don't have to do any of that if you just get this one power, which in total costs only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 power points to get 3 fully upgraded units. Really good. They also have just a good variety of units, as I've already talked about. You've got a decent amount of swordsmen with different abilities. You've got the Pinnaclean swordsmen, some of my favourite units that do bonus damage units without heavy armour. You can use the Sonic Axe Warriors if you want to be able to do bonus damage to buildings. But also there's the Dol Amroth soldiers to do just more damage with all of your infantry. The Dol Amroth Swan Knights do the same thing for cavalry. But it's not only your cavalry, but also other friendly cavalry if you've got if you're working in a team. And then you've got, again, just good archers. Siege, you can say you've got the main two, battering ram, trebuchet, but you've also got a unique siege tower, which if you know how to use the tower, you can, well, this siege shield, you can really prevent a lot of damage from when you're sieging, but I never use them because it's too much for me. I'm not going to lie about that. But yeah, you've not got anything like massively overly unique, like a giant monster or anything like that. You've just got a good standard roster, which also goes into the weaknesses. They are a jack of all trades, but a master of very few. Because, as I said, a lot of the units are basic tier. All of these units here, this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is technically 2, so I'm going to move them away so I don't keep mistaking them. A lot of your units are very basic. Ithilien Rangers can be worth getting, but they are so easily just killed and trampled if they are ever caught off guard by cavalry, which the AI know how to always find, apparently. Your pikeman is your only elite unit from your barracks. You don't get an elite swordsman until you get a border stronghold for the Dol Amroth soldiers, but they are more of a support unit anyway. You don't really want them just going into and constantly dying because they are quite expensive, even with considering the discounts from things like the townhouses. And you also need a lot of build plots. You can see in this base here, 9 build plots. It's the largest amount of build plots in a castle. Otherwise, you've only got 6 from a camp. And camp stars are honestly much worse for Gondor than castle stars because you want every single building. If you want to have all these units all at once, you need 4 different build plots. You need your stables, your archer range, your barracks, and your siege works. But let's not talk about the siege works. But still, 1, 2, 3 buildings. One of these you don't really need. The archer range I say you don't need because you can get archers from the signal fire and get them already upgraded. So 2 of these units are already probably never going to see any real play. The Ithilien Rangers you can get from ranger tents if you get them to level 3. But if you can't give them fire arrows, they're not going to do anywhere near as much damage as the Blackroot Vale archers can with their free fire arrow upgrades. And then, and obviously, yeah, you can see we've got 2 choices for our buildings, both of which are good. You can have a discount in your units. Sorry, yeah, you can discount your basic Sorry, no, you can discount your elite units. I keep getting it all mixed up. You can discount your elite units by going for all townhouses and also discounting the expanded storerooms, so you can get faster command point gain, but also just spam out a bunch of units. That's slightly cheaper. Increased taxes does make it so you can get your basic troops cheaper as well. So if you want to go for like a Denethor early game strat and use the emergency mobilization, you can spam out a lot of really cheap units, and that is honestly a way you can play. But yeah, overall, you need to get the basics down with Gondor. But once you do, really easy. there's not a lot to learn with Gondor. They have a very easy learning curve. One of the easiest learning curves in the game. They are one of the factions that remain the most vanilla, and not in a bad way. And now we move on to how I prefer to play them. So when it comes to playing Gondor, I have one simple strategy, and it's always been the signal fire. I love the fiefdom troops. I love how easy it is to get them. I love the fact they don't cost any money to recruit once you've got the signal fire. All you need to do is protect the signal fire. And Gondor has more ways to protect a building than any other faction. Barring maybe the dwarves, you have Gondorian architecture to fully repair it. You got Baragon's whole kit. You can get some defenders. You can heal units around it. It used to be bugged, by the way, that you could use this ability to get free errand riders, and you can spam out fiefdom troops really easily. I used to do it all the time, but it did get fixed in the last major update. And you can also just make the building nearly invulnerable for a long time. You'll always want to have a signal fire. You'll want to keep it back in a safe position. So if, for example, if a build plot was in the back of your base, like this here, if there was a settlement here in the back of your base, you will build the signal fire there because that's the safest place for it. Compare it to the ranger tent that has its own defenses and has more health than the signal fire at higher levels, because this doesn't level up as you get the settlers tools. You will be wanting to keep the signal fire in the back and safe as much as possible. Get a lone tower to protect it. Do all you can to protect it, because this is where you're going to be wanting to get the most out of your army. Another strategy, if you don't like going signal fire routes, is, as I just talked about, is going townhouses, Den of 4, with emergency mobilization to get these troops incredibly cheap and recruited incredibly quickly. The difference between Anorian soldiers and Anorian soldiers quickly trained, the only difference is that they lose the formation and they cannot get upgrades. Other than that, in the early game, they're exactly the same. Same stats. In fact, I'm even going to prove it. I'm going to get one unit now. Base emergency mobilization prior to emergency mobilization, and then I'm going to get one after emergency mobilization. I'm going to have to build it, put them somewhere where my ally won't interfere. I messed up. I don't have anywhere I can put them. Soldier battalion standing by. But yeah, it'll just be a quick demonstration. It's not anything major. But yeah, they are exactly the same, except for the fact they don't have all the extra stuff here. It's still really good. Super cheap, super quick to recruit. This also works on your archers, by the way, if you want to be able to get decent early archers. Yeah, you can. The only visual difference between them is the fact that they don't have shields. However, there is also a way to circumvent the fact they can't get upgrades if you find the One Ring and give it to Boromir, since he gives all your units Forge Blades and Heavy Armor just permanently while he is the Ring Hero, because he does unfortunately deteriorate. If you didn't know, where's the ability? Cunning Words, not that one. Reverse Convert. So let's just throw them in 1 versus 1. You see, the damage is exactly the same on both sides. No real difference. Oh no, I might be wrong. Oh no, I'm not wrong. No. It is exactly the same. It's just that some of them got more hits on them than others. Yeah, look at that. Look at how little difference that is. The only difference there on who won is just the positioning. That's it. Yeah, that was a perfect showing. That emergency mobilization, get it when you can, because it will just give you free troops that you don't need to worry about upgrades for, because again, you've got your fiefdoms from the signal fires. Really, really good. Play the defensive early game. Don't be afraid to cede a bit of ground. By which I mean, I probably should use it more common word English, is don't be afraid to give up ground. Try and hold on to the important settlements like your signal fires, but if you've got a ranger tent, or a farm, don't be afraid to lose it in the early game. You can easily get them back. They're cheap. Once you get the settlers tools, they're even easier to defend because you can get the arrow tower. That's not my farm. But yeah, you can easily defend your buildings if you just do everything you need to. You also can just keep ahead of the game if you see it, because most factions don't have really good vision abilities, like with Pippin and Denethor, who has the Clairvoyant Stone for a wide AoE. In fact, I can show it off here. There's still a bit of unclaimed land. You can see all that now is now revealed. And then Pippin does the exact same thing, as with slightly smaller radius, but he also can move around with it active, which makes him a very valuable scout hero. One of the best scout heroes, honestly. And then while you're just going for all the cheap units and free units, get all your heroes. I've already said in the beginning, one of the biggest strengths of Gondor is their hero roster. All really good, all amazing leadership abilities for your faction. Massive AoE attacks, decent hero killing potential, which eventually leads into mass slaying potential. Boost to all your fiefdom units, by the way, just passively. Just 15% damage and armor for all of your fiefdom troops, or 30% damage and 30% armor. Really good. Really, really good faction. With very little things to go wrong. And then, by the end game, you'll have a very elite army, fully upgraded, probably. Very few emergency mobilized units. And then you can just use your tier 4 powers. Rohan Answers is one of the strongest tier 4 powers in the game. And I'm saying that quite honestly. I do think this is one of the strongest powers in the game. It takes a little bit of time to build up, but give it that time. Theoden Glorious Charge with an army of cavalry, which can include your own, that you recruit through like the Nassau Diana for the Gondor Knights. You can just build a near unstoppable army that can kill most enemy armies, and then also rush down an enemy base, taking next to no damage. And the duration on them is pretty good considering how fast they are. Compare it to like the Army of Gondor or the Grey Company. And then I've already talked about Unearth Fulfilled, really powerful, just massive AoE damage, very little answer to an Oath Fulfilled as well. Very, very difficult to answer these. And then Pleated Eagles, very hard to answer if you don't have a lot of defenses with towers or any ranged units. Which some factions really struggle with ranged units, aka Misty Mountains. You're going against some goblins, throw the eagles on them. They cannot beat them very easily. Their archers are all garbage. Mordor is in a similar predicament, but they honestly have a lot better of a defense than the Misty Mountains does. And now we come up to the last main talking point, which is how I would advise you to beat Gondor. So firstly, let's have a look at their base. So have a look at exactly what they built during the duration of the game. They built 1, 2, 3, 4 blacksmiths, 1, 2, 3 recruitment buildings, the stonemason, which is a weird one, and then the marketplace. Marketplace is always going to be a thing. But in the early game, they immediately built a barracks and an archery range, so they're always going to be spamming these basic troops, which we've talked about. If you can get a lot of them, that's good. But they are quite expensive at base. 300, 200, 300. Some of the most expensive starting units. They are good, but they can very easily be countered by factions that can spam harder, or just have more elite units. Enlargers, for example, or Mordor, for example. More spammy, more elite. In the early game, even into the late game. You also want to, as I said, the heroes are really good. So use that strength against them. You see an enemy hero like an Aragorn running in, find what he is running for, and run that unit away, or hero away. He's normally targeting heroes. Run the thing away he's going for. The AI sometimes will not prioritize the thing in front of them. They will keep trying to go for this one thing they already targeted. And then you can kill them by surrounding them and just pummeling them. Most heroes are not immune to just being surrounded and having... Oh, I don't know if I should say this, but I'm going to say it. Just have a Julius Caesar moment. Oh, gosh. That's a funny history moment that most people aren't going to get on this, I don't think. But yeah, they beat down their heroes, and their units are a lot weaker without them. And then, as I said, how their powers are really strong. The more you play against a Gondor, the more you will learn when they get access to each of their powers, each of these milestones. The main milestones are Barrage, because they'll throw that out pretty early. You might not see it coming, and you could very easily take a lot of damage if the path of the Barrage goes through your entire army, especially with spammy factions where the AoE damage can just obliterate them. Be careful with that. The next one is obviously Plea to the Eagles. If you are not ready, if you're like me who doesn't build a lot of archers, that can very easily just slow you down tremendously. Against Gondors, you probably don't want to go making a bunch of archers, because you can see in the outpost that the AI made, they built triple stables for no reason other than just because the AI is funny like that. But yeah, Plea to the Eagles is a serious power you need to always be aware of. When this power comes down, you need to be ready to either run away. If you get the timing right, throw one unit into the fray on its own. Wait until they use that power, and then that's it. That's a whole very dangerous power gone for a good few minutes, where you can now just kind of take over. And then finally, obviously, an Oath Fulfilled comes out of nowhere, gives you a few seconds to react. You can hear it. You can hear when the King of the Dead says, "We fight." Not a lot of factions can deal with it. Sometimes you just have to bite the bullet and lose your army. Or, again, like I said, with the heroes, the Army of the Dead will just target certain units. Keep those units. Throw those units in one direction. Throw the rest of your army in a different direction so they don't die. I actually did that recently with the Iron Hills versus Gondor. I threw a few of my units that were getting chased by the Army of the Dead, threw them away, while the rest of my army could keep running closer to the enemy base to destroy them. The AI, thankfully, is not very smart with these kinds of things. They just rely on having all that bonus power to try and get ahead. And Gondor as a faction, without their heroes or their powers, is not a very strong faction. They can very easily be overwhelmed and beaten down. If they get a lot of economy early game, they can start getting their units with upgrades, so then they will become more of a problem. And in the late game, they will just keep spamming elite troops with upgrades. If you surround them in their base, they will just throw trash at you because they don't have time to level them up. They will just be in the upgrading process, so you can very easily destroy them that way. But also do be wary of their siege. But if you want to have an easy game, play against a Camp Start Gondor. They really struggle because they have to have so many buildings focusing on military and not on economy. If you're going to take away their settlements and make sure they don't build any outposts, they will just throw all their economy away. And I can even show you here, I've built very little economy, and I have 40,000 during this entire run. They've only got 67,000. So they've not exactly gotten further they own half the map. Their economy is nowhere is meant to be way better than mine, and they're barely making more than I am. And that's with obviously them already having a full army. This isn't just me saying, "Oh, because they can do this and this and this." No, this is unfortunately Gondor's biggest weakness is that they do kind of struggle. But yeah, don't let Gondor take the whole map. If you do, the late game is going to be a lot more difficult. You might notice they sometimes just spam signal fires. They do know how to make units from them now, so do be aware of that. But as you can see, they don't have errand riders. They don't follow the errand rider system. I think the way these work is that it's a periodic thing. They eventually just spew some units forth. I don't know what the Edain team did with that, but I'm not really too bothered about it. And that is pretty much everything I needed to say for Gondor. It may seem a bit weird how I've done it this time. I've done it a lot more just talked and just let the flow of the video go as it needed to. I have in the past, as I've already said, just tried to be very rigid with the structure, and I find I just always go on tangents, and then the video was going on forever. And I'm glad I managed to do it this way, because I actually enjoyed just doing it this way. It's a lot more, a lot less structured, and I am talking more from my own perspective instead of just giving you all the stats and the numbers, which most people don't really care about anyway either. They would rather just know the main things, the nitty gritty in the game. But yeah, this kind of base you don't want. You want to have at least 5 resource buildings, the marketplace, 1 recruitment building, a well, remove a well eventually for a 2nd recruitment building, and then here you can have either another recruitment building or another resource building. I really emphasize heavily on resources to get heroes very early on. You're not the AI. The AI can just do a bunch of things on their own for free because they have to have a few cheats here and there to make everything work for them. But to be fair, their base is quite balanced as well. But I will get rid of the stoneworker for a blacksmith, since that's the last building they built when they didn't need to build any more buildings. I hope you all enjoyed, hope you all learned something. And I will see you all in the next one, which I will be making a poll, giving you 4 choices of which faction you want me to make a guide on next. And that will probably come out in the next few days. See ya!